Hi everyone, I'm Jena Griffiths. I help everyone think about their lives in a way that so that they can see their lives in a completely new perspective. Like, for example, think like a diver. So I've done lots of things. I've got hundreds of degrees or whatever, but the things that I've really learned have been from the University of Life. And I'd like to squash it all down into a few simple rules, because the things that I would have liked to have learned, like one is rule number one, never dive alone. And so how does that translate to real life? That's, are we on to two already? Okay. So always be with, find someone else. It's more fun and it's safer. And rule number three is how to control, you can control your, you can control your depth. I'm going into a rather deep depth right now. Okay, so just like the ocean, life has all sorts of depths. And one depth, it's the sun can reach, and you've got lots of clarity, and the deeper you go, the darker it gets, until eventually there is no, it's completely dark. And it's the same in real life. There are all these depths. I don't know if you can see those on the screen, but there are all sorts of levels of, and you can be in the same environment with the same people, and you can have a completely different experience depending on what depth you are, and you can shift that consciously. And the good thing is that so the same people, so you're in the office or with your partner, and if you just spend a few minutes a day just shifting how you feel, making yourself happy, you can actually just totally change your experience. You can have a totally different experience. So in our life, it's like the caterpillar and the butterfly story. There's this one story where we're unconscious that we need to be unconscious that we can have a deep dive. We're here to dive. We're here to have experience. And when you find yourself right at the bottom of the ocean, you can just choose a different reaction. Instead of feeling like a victim or being like a judge, you can, if you can step next to yourself and see yourself as a witness. Relationships, we seem to be attracted to people who can actually take us into a dark place. And if you can find buddies and people who can tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, that's a story you're telling yourself, because the real monsters of the dark are the stories we tell ourselves about what's really going on. And so just remember a few things. There's 1, 2, 3, and there's GPS. Okay, so GPS, it's gratitude. If you're in a really dark place, gratitude it's like manually putting air into your jacket. And if you can see the pattern, if you can see those repeated patterns of what triggers you, what takes you down to a dark place, that is like pushing a button on your jacket, on your life jacket, and you go up very quickly. And the third is S, of the self-compassion. And self-compassion is it's another way of putting air into that jacket. So just remember that the real monsters of the dark are the stories you tell yourself. And instead of, normally what we do is we take all our energy and we compress it, just like you do in a dive. And if you can actually take that and feel the feeling, and you actually put air into your own tank instead of feeding your creative fuel to a monster, because you make it real and you make it bigger than it is. So if you want to know more about how to work with that and know what the things are that trigger you and take you into dark places, you can actually see that in your fingerprints. So that's it.